Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I hope you noticed, like I did, that lately the mass media, the Western mass media, the free mass media, talks more often, I would say regularly, about NATO's war against Russia and the imminent defense of our values and our territory, and the European Union, America, and all that, against the Russian hordes. They don't use these words, I'm using them because they think exactly like that about those guys. But I noticed that the mass media is trying to get the population, the audience, the baboons, ready. They get them ready, they prepare them for a war. I know lately I've been saying this a lot, and I will keep saying it because it's serious. I have here an article that I think again comes to prove my point. These guys are getting us used to being in a hot war with Russia. Conventional only in Ukraine. They think everything is going to be contained to Ukraine, as if the Russians will be dumbasses or something. I think these guys are too arrogant in their abilities, and that's a mistake when you look down on and disconsider your opponent. Then you can be knocked out. So let me show you this article where again the United States of America, or some in the United States of America, think or talk about war against Russia or China or both. So they're already talking about it. Again, they're at the first step. These guys are baboons, criminals, traitors. What are they? We're going to find out. One of these, or not necessarily, one out of three. Could be more than that, and could fit the same. Traitors and criminals in the same time, or baboons. Insider. This is May 3rd, 2024, today. The US, United States of America, could have to is not must. Have to is when something, that's why I learned in school, that's the meaning of, I have to do it, is because of external influence. Sometimes something else makes me react. I have to because. I have to go to work because I have to get money. It's not that I must go. It's something. I must go is like, I must, defend myself. It's different than, I have to. I have to, okay. So I have to is because I'm pushed by an external factor. So we will be pushed into a war. That's the word they used. The US could have to with both Russia and China if it ends up at war with one of them. What kind of talk is that? Well, it's a possibility. That's what they tell you. Top intelligence officials say, well, first, the US, and not only, intelligence, for me has negative 2,349 credibility. Negative. All right? And they keep digging that hole, going down more than tell us the truth. So for me, when you have top intelligence officials tell us something, you see, intelligence is based on basically protecting our country, right? Securing our borders, securing our societies against external and domestic, whomever wants to harm us. In a war with someone else, information war, the intelligence, and not only, these guys use disinformation. They have a department over there, not only one, that deals with disinformation. That is, giving the wrong information, false information, and the other guys will get that information, and by the time they realize, they get they don't know what's going on. The same thing, they do it. So that's the department of disinformation. Maybe it's not called that way, it's called differently, but nevertheless, with other, euphemisms. So we have top intelligence officials saying this. You don't know what the fuck that's meant to be true, that's meant to be a lie. You don't know who they're with. They should be with us, but I'm not convinced whatsoever that they are on our side. Our meaning the population, the US citizenry. So again, they put on the table out there, possible could be a war with Russia and China. Are you crazy? No. What are they, crazy or baboons? They're traitors or they're criminals? What are they? They're talking about it. And you can say, well, what do you want, Emil? If those guys, meaning the Russians and Chinese, are crazy, how would you react? I'm not convinced whatsoever that they are the crazy ones. And these ones, I don't think they're crazy. I think they are living in a unrealistic world in which they think that, you see, if I have this mouse, I have a few buttons here. If I push them, they're going to react. The mouse will respond to the commands I give, depending on where I push, left, right, up, down, and so on. They think that when they push a button, the Russians will stop the war. When they push the button, the Russian missiles launched towards the United States of America will just stop and, I don't know, shoot up or... God. For one moment. Actually, I should look down. It's not. If there's one, the one down is going to be, Emil, come to me. We're waiting. And I'm going to be like, I'm coming. Because all the interesting people are there. Not there. Anyway, fuck off, Emil, right? So we have here this guy saying that's a war, a possible war. Let's read further. If, you see, they put this scenario, the possibility, if the US goes to war with Russia or China. What kind of talk is this? Well, I mean, it's a possibility nowadays. It could have to deal with both adversaries at once. US intel leaders. They're fucking appointed fucking bureaucrats. Leaders, my ass. Warn. A lot of ass kissing, remember. Now, no, you're not going to deal with both at once because a few nuclear weapons launched by the crazy ones will fuck everybody up. Emil, we're not gonna get to that one. We just want to destroy them only in the area we like. When they are going to access things that we don't like, we say, you can't use nuclear weapons, you can't attack our infrastructure, you can't attack our territory. Only we can attack yours with those idiots like the Ukrainians, the Romanians, the Poles, the Lithuanians, the Latvians, and Estonians, okay? And whoever we need. But you definitely cannot hit us. And the Russians will say, yes, sir, partner. Okay, partner, we're going to do what you say. This guys think they're going to push that button and the Russians will react like a mouse. Yes, we're going to do that. So if the US goes to war with China or Russia, it could have to deal with both adversaries at once. No, they're going to be nuclear weapons. If I would be one of these guys' leaders, I would say, just fucking do it. And I'm crazy. Look at me. Okay? When you're going to attack, I know already they're involved. That should have been done, I think, before the 24th of February. And after the 24th of February 2022, when these guys sent the first bullet to Ukraine, I should have played like this. Those guys, I'm crazy. I'm gonna have itchy finger. Where is Bing? Bring me those things. That's what I would have done if I were Putin. And these guys were like, damn, this guy's gonna blow our history up. And our children and our grandchildren and our whatever are gonna be blown up. We worked so hard to take this planet by the balls, and now the crazy Putin is gonna blow our efforts. No, Putin, stop! Why? Because they have more to lose than Putin. That's why. But no, Putin, some people say, not me, was too soft. Some people say, well, he should have just played the piano for a little bit, like this. And then the other guys, stop. And that's it. Russia and China have developed what they call a no-limits partnership. Why? Well, because they're evil. That's the idiotic. Because of you, motherfuckers. They're scared of you. That's why your actions made them said, well, these guys blew up Yugoslavia, the defensive organization of NATO, military organization. When they blew up Yugoslavia, they blew up Iraq, freedom and democracy, on lies. They started in Afghanistan. They went to Libya. They went to Syria. Now they want Iran. They're going to go to Taiwan. then probably going to return to Yugoslavia, to Serbia. These guys are we're going to be next. We got the resources. You guys got the work, cheap work, labor, and economy. What the fuck? These guys cannot compete with their retarded society anymore against us, with their lazy motherfuckers. They can't. So what are they going to do? They're going to compete. They're going to destroy us. Because that's the free market. Instead of saying, well, this guy produces this thing cheaper and better than I. What should I do? Well, I should use my brain and I should make sure that I produce something better than their product. And maybe I sell it to an advantageous price. People will say, well, this is better than that. I can pay a little bit more than that because it's going to last longer. Or this is better and cheaper or less expensive. Now we don't have second-hand cars. We have pre-owned cars. So the same, less expensive or not cheaper. No, they don't think that way. Oh, the guys have, let's fuck them up. And therefore our faulty product or garbage product, overpriced and garbage quality, will win. Why? We eliminate competition. That's exactly what they did with the cheap Russian gas in Europe. And the criminals in Europe agreed. And the population, not only the population, future generations will have a worse standard of living. Not they. No. Us, we. So let's go back here. That's because of you, my friends. This is why, because of you. The two also conducted a joint military exercise near Taiwan for the first time per a U.S. official. And how many did you conducted by the Korean peninsula? How many did you conduct near Taiwan? Do you want me to look over the map and show you where Taiwan is and where the United States of America is or are? So again, United States of America, the guys over there stick their nose thousands of miles away from the territory and they claim national security concerns, whatever, interest. But the Russians who are right there with their Kamchatka and the Chinese, no man, they can't be near Taiwan. Again, in Europe, did Russia move westward towards attacking the West and our values? Or NATO moved the installations and expanded towards Russia? I mean, you gotta be a tard just to ignore these facts. And you don't have to do any intellectual or mental gymnastics to put things together. That's a fact, it's obvious. Otherwise, Russia would have been in NATO so far. Why isn't? Why isn't Russia in NATO? Did you ask yourselves? Not because Russia did not want. Putin asked then, leaving, what's his name? Clinton. Oh, no. No. Because you're the fucking enemy. You're the enemy. We need your resources. And you need to be broken up, and your nuclear weapons under our control, as they were not under control. But we my bad. These guys have CIA offices in Moscow. The Russians did not have KGB offices in Washington, D.C. That tells you no reciprocity. That tells you who's the boss, who owns whom. I have to remind you that the Americans also have advisors and inspectors at Russian nuclear sites in Russia. The Russians did not have in the United States of America or in Europe. Well, what can you do? If you remember, the State Department, American State Department, sent advisors to help Yeltsin in his campaign when he won. Now, the second time, let's put it this way. So, what was that? You know. And then the crazy guy, the European Putin, came and said, okay, you go over there, you go over. And this guy scattered to 3 locations. One, London, England, or Great Britain. The other one, Israel. And the other one, New York. And that's it. All right, let's move on. The two also conducted, if in the event, should not happen, of a conflict with either Russia or China, U.S. forces may find themselves, we just happen to find ourselves dealing with both adversaries due to their cooperative partnership, according to recent warning from top intelligence. You see, all this is like we are the victims. Like we are the guys that are under attack. We are the guys that are defending our civilization, perverted civilization. We're not Western civilization anymore. We're a perverted Western civilization. And yes, Western civilization is fantastic. All right. There are civilizations that are inferior and civilizations that are superior. I mean, look in history. I mean, obviously, certain civilization. I'm not talking about cultures. Culture, civilization. A culture. What's the difference between a culture and civilization? In short explanation, a culture doesn't have writing. So if you don't have a writing, you're not a civilization. A civilization has how do you call that? Has an organized society based on institutions. Like you have a parliament, you have a police, law enforcement, you have the military, you have the school, you have this kind organized like that. If you don't have that, you're not. If you don't have these two things, you're not a civilization. Okay, you're a culture. And your culture is something, and there are cultures that have these things very well organized. That's why they call it more civilized. And cultures, civilizations that have these things less organized, a lot of corruption. That's why they're. And this one gives birth to certain achievements. The other one, no. Okay, in plain explanation. All right, and the chance of the U.S. finding itself at war with these rivals is much more likely now. They get you ready, my friends, than it was a few years ago, prompting the U.S. to revisit its thinking and military planning. You see, we have to react. Those guys, the bad dudes, they have no limits right here. No limits partnership. Why? Not because of us. No, not because of our actions. And the chance of pop during Tuesday hearing during Thursday U.S. Senate Committee on Armed Services hearing on worldwide threats, Avril D. Haines, Director of National Intelligence and you know who this is? She's a woman, and I'm going to show you who she is, because we already have how do you call him, Blinken, we already have Newland, we already have Mayorkas. Why don't we have her too? We're going to show you. I mean, should not bother anybody. That's a fact, okay? That's a fact. That's a fact right here. Avril Haines. She's a lawyer, and she's a senior government official who serves as a director of national intelligence. And we find out here that her mother, she was, a painter, was Jewish. So she's Jewish. Like Blinken, like Newland, like Zelensky, like Yermak, Mihal, like the Prime Minister of France, like the Defense Minister of Great Britain. I'm pretty sure all these are just coincidences. Okay, so she tells us, because she is the one who warns over there, that China and Russia, we have to defend ourselves somehow. We have to help Zelensky Stein, says Mrs. Heinz Stein. You know who's who and what's what? Okay, then. Get ready for war. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.